Imagine looking at two cans of identical white paint. They're made from the same raw materials, serve the exact same utility, and face the exact same physical constraints. Yet one of those cans belongs to a company that controls over 53% of the massive Indian market, maintaining a grip so tight it defies basic economic gravity. For decades, global chemical giants and deep-pocketed conglomerates have poured billions into India to break this crown. They built state-of-the-art factories, slashed prices, and launched massive ad blitzes, yet almost all left bruised and beaten. This brings us to a major strategic question. How does a business build a permanent monopoly around a basic commodity? The secret to this corporate mystery lies in a decades-long masterclass in data, psychology, and supply chain execution that completely shifted the rules of modern retail. To truly understand the scale of this dominance, we have to look at the hard data of the Indian decorative paint sector. What you are seeing right now is a highly concentrated 72,000 crore rupee market split among just a few organized players. While household names like Burger Paints capture around 18%, and industrial heavyweights like Kansai Nerolac hold close to 12%, Asian Paints sits comfortably alone at the top, swallowing over half the entire industry. Paint is an exceptionally attractive market because it offers predictable, recurring revenue streams. Consumers are surprisingly brand loyal and insensitive to price increases because the paint itself represents less than 20% of a total home renovation budget. This structural advantage gives the market leader an unbelievable level of pricing power, forcing rivals to fight for leftover scraps in a highly lucrative space. The foundations of this incredible empire were laid back in 1942, inside a tiny Mumbai garage during wartime import shortages. But the truly radical turning point occurred in the late 1960s. At that time, foreign firms tightly controlled the market by selling through massive, powerful wholesale distributors who demanded 60 days of credit and heavy profit margins. Co-founder Champiklal Choksi made a daring strategic choice. Asian Paints eliminated wholesalers completely. They decided to ship directly to tens of thousands of tiny, independent mom-and-pop neighborhood hardware stores. To manage this massive logistical nightmare, the company made an astonishing gamble in 1970 by purchasing India's very first commercial mainframe supercomputer. It cost more than their entire marketing budget, but it gave them an invisible superpower: the ability to forecast individual store demands decades before the rest of the corporate world caught on. This early technology pivot enabled their single most brilliant invention, the computerized tinting machine. Traditionally, paint companies had to premix, bottle, and ship hundreds of unique colors to every shop. This left local dealers with piles of unsold inventory of unpopular shades, while constantly running out of bestsellers. Asian Paints solved this by placing an automated tinting machine right inside the dealer's shop. Instead of storing thousands of unique colored cans, the shop owner only needed to stock a few basic white bases and colorant vials. When a customer picked a shade, the formula was dispensed instantly. This machine did something far deeper than mix colors. It created a physical lock on the market. Most Indian hardware shops are smaller than 300 square feet. Once an Asian Paints machine is bolted to the concrete floor, there is physically no room left for a competitor's machine. This retail real estate dominance completely transformed the underlying financials of the dealer relationship. In typical consumer goods markets, companies grant retailers long credit periods to convince them to stock items. Asian Paints flipped this upside down by requiring dealers to pay for inventory within 24 hours, effectively operating on zero credit. In return, they promised something no rival could match: hyperspeed delivery. Asian Paints trucks deliver fresh stock to the retail store 3 to 4 times every single day. For the small merchant, this is an incredible cash engine. Because the truck arrives every few hours, they do not have to tie up precious capital or backroom space with massive inventory storage. The local dealer turns over their cash up to 100 times a year, generating profits so quickly that they stay fiercely exclusive to the leader. When we put Asian Paints metrics side by side with the rest of the manufacturing industry, the efficiency gap is staggering. A typical competitor holds inventory for 50 to 60 days and delivers stock to a retail outlet once every 2 to 3 days. Asian Paints maintains an inventory cycle of just 25 to 30 days, backed by multiple daily micro-deliveries. This system is driven by a predictive data engine that collects retail point-of-sale information every 3 hours, allowing automated factories to adjust production schedules in real time with 98% accuracy. While competitors spend massive amounts of cash maintaining regional distribution centers and static warehouses, Asian Paints converts raw materials into cash faster than almost any heavy manufacturer on Earth. This hyper-velocity working capital creates an elite efficiency barrier that cannot be broken by simply spending money. While invisible data loops keep the retail shelves perfectly optimized, the company simultaneously built an emotional pull that brings consumers directly into the stores. In India, painting a home is a high-stakes, deeply personal milestone, often tied to major family weddings or festivals. Recognizing this, the brand completely shifted its marketing away from industrial, chemical jargon and focused squarely on family pride and social status. Iconic, decade-spanning campaigns like Har Ghar Kuch Kehta Hai, meaning every home has a story to tell, repositioned paint from a routine maintenance product into a powerful expression of identity. This deep brand equity alters consumer behavior right at the counter. Even when a contractor or local painter suggests an alternative brand, homeowners frequently insist on Asian Paints because the name has become completely synonymous with trust and reliability. The ultimate proof of any economic moat shows up clearly in its financial statements. Looking at the company's financial scorecard, they generate numbers that look more like an asset-light software business than a capital-heavy chemical company. They consistently sustain operating margins between 18 and 21%, backed by a return on capital employed that hovers between 26 and 35%. Because their ultra-lean supply chain frees up enormous amounts of cash, they regularly return 60% of their standalone profits directly to shareholders as dividends. When global crude oil prices spike, driving up raw material costs, Asian Paints leverages its sheer scale to negotiate better supplier rates and utilizes its immense pricing power to pass remaining costs directly to consumers without sacrificing volume growth. Today, this long-standing fortress is facing its most aggressive test yet from the Aditya Birla Group's new brand, Birla Opus. Armed with a massive 10,000 crore rupee investment, the challenger has rapidly built 6 advanced greenfield plants to capture immediate manufacturing scale. They are targeting a 10% revenue market share by offering free tinting machines and deep retail discounts. Birla Opus possesses deep corporate capital and established ties with local dealers through their legacy cement and putty businesses. However, they are running headfirst into a harsh physical reality. A challenger can build giant factories overnight, but they cannot easily expand the physical square footage of India's cramped, family-owned retail stores. For a shop owner, replacing a highly optimized asset that turns over cash multiple times a day is a massive financial risk. This brings us back to our central question. Why do competitors struggle so heavily against Asian Paints, despite selling a nearly identical chemical product? The ultimate strategic insight is that Asian Paints is not primarily a paint company at all. It is a highly sophisticated, data-driven logistics and fulfillment engine that happens to be disguised as a paint company. The product inside the can is high quality, but it can be replicated in modern chemical labs. What cannot be easily replicated is the invisible architecture, the real-time point-of-sale data, the predictive algorithms, the hyper-frequent micro-deliveries, and the captive retail floor space. Competitors can buy the same software and duplicate the formulas, but rebuilding an optimized 80,000-node fulfillment network that updates every 3 hours is a decades-long task. That is why the leader's crown remains firmly secure for the next generation.